I'm Brennan, and today I'm going to make a delicious and nutritious dinner. This is our gluten-free pasta and cheese, and it is fabulous. So if you take a look quickly at our table here, we have some fabulous ingredients, very wholesome and nutritious ingredients. It always starts with Philadelphia cream cheese. I always use this. I'm a personal chef in Toronto, and this is that one ingredient that I use in almost all my dishes. It's rich and it's creamy, but it doesn't have that really heavy flavor. It's really fabulous in this dish. And this, if you can get quite close, this is my secret ingredient to my gluten-free gluten-free pasta and cheese. This is a sweet potato, one gigantic sweet potato, so it's about 3 cups. And what we do is we boil this, and this adds a layer of added nutrients, lots of vitamins, as well as a smoothie texture. And above all, when your kids have your pasta and cheese, it's orange, just like Kraft macaroni and cheese. So to get started, we've actually already boiled some pasta noodles here. These are rice pasta noodles. And if you can see, there's a good little sheen on them. I put a little bit of olive oil just so that they don't stick too much. There's a lot of starch that comes out of these noodles. So I put a little bit of olive oil just to keep them smooth. So let's get started on our bechamel sauce. So a bechamel sauce is really just a few ingredients. What you want to do is start off with some margarine or some butter, whichever you prefer. And you're going to heat that up, and we're going to add some flour to it, and we're going to cook the flour for a couple minutes. And as the flour starts to cook, we're going to add some milk, and we're going to whisk that in, and it's going to be a base for a cream sauce. We're going to add our Philadelphia cream cheese. We have some grated old cheddar, some white cheddar, and some marble, and a little bit of Parmesan. I love Parmesan because it's got a bit of a bite, like a nippy flavor. And just as we're almost ready, we're going to fold in some of our sweet potatoes, some salt and pepper, and a bit of thyme. Okay, so I'm going to put this in the pan. Oh, it's nice and warm. Excellent. And you want to, don't get it too hot. You don't want to burn it, but you definitely want it to melt as fast as possible, and keep your pan really warm. This is 6 tablespoons of rice flour. Now, for those people that are interested in cutting down on the gluten that they have in their diet, there are some fabulous options. Rice flour, there's coconut flour, lots of really good ones. So if you get close up here, you see that? And see how the flour, you can hear it, it's starting to cook, which is really cool. So you definitely want to get that cooked flavor out of the rice. Now, rice flour, if you can imagine, has a bit of a crunchy texture. So it's not as smooth as perhaps wheat or white flour, but I love it. I love making cookies with it. It's really nutritious. And as a personal chef, I have more and more clients that are celiac and they can't have any gluten. So here's a way to have a nutritious and beautiful dinner and stay healthy and don't feel like you have to deprive yourself of good flavor. Okay, so you can hear that it's starting to cook. I'm going to turn the heat up a little bit. And then to this, I'm going to add some of our milk, and this is why the whisk is very important. So there you go. And then get going with that, and then, oh, sounds of sweet heaven. Okay, so now as we cook this, we're going to cook it more and more and more. And this is the bechamel sauce, and it's very smooth once you whisk it really well. This is a very smooth baseline for a lot of things. A lot of lasagnas start off with a bechamel sauce, a lot of soups, or if you wanted to make, a creamy stew, this is a perfect way to start it. Okay, now we're going to add a little bit, never mind a little bit, let's go for it. Let's add 1 full container of the Philadelphia Light. And I like the light better than the full flavor in this dish because it already has lots of richness. Same calcium content, lots and lots of flavor. So look at this. Okay, doesn't that look wonderful? And that's what that Philadelphia cream cheese does to the dish. It just brings that level of richness to it. Okay, so as that continues, it looks like white icing. I'm going to actually add the sweet potatoes now. And the sweet potatoes, there is still some moisture in the sweet potatoes, which will help. in case you're thinking that your sauce is too thick. And so there you go, everybody. There is the orange sauce. That famous orange sauce in Kraft macaroni and cheese. I remember going to university. Oh my gosh. My family always gave me a case of mac and cheese when I went to school. So now I make it myself for my clients, and I definitely make it healthier than I used to way back when. Okay, so here we go. Add more of your cheese. And I'm gonna add all the marble, and I'm gonna keep a little bit of the old cheddar back, because that's gonna go on top. And so now as the cheese starts to melt and get incorporated with the sweet potatoes, and we have to be quite sensitive to time for this tape today, but if you had the time, a little more time, during the week you can get the sauce done ahead of time, the day before if you'd like. Make it nice and smooth, or get your kids involved. Give them all the hard work. Okay, there we go. Now we're ready to add our gluten-free noodles. So see how when you put the olive oil on them, then they don't stick, which is what you want. You don't want it to stick. Okay, there we go. So add these all back. This is 1 pack of rice noodles. There you go. And you want to fold that in together. And see how it's sticking. And it does appear to be very, very creamy and cheesy, which it is. But kids will think you just went to town on buying pounds and pounds of cheese. When we've added a vegetable full of beta carotene. And the good thing about sweet potatoes is if you add fat to a sweet potato, then it helps to, you can actually fully enjoy the beta carotene that's in a sweet potato. So the fat that's in the cheese is actually a perfect partner. There you go. I like to add a little bit of thyme. I love thyme. Who doesn't want more thyme? Just a little bit. And the kids, they barely even notice that, which is good. They love the flavor, but they don't like to see it. A little bit of pepper. Okay. And this is all dependent on who you're feeding. So, and just a little bit of salt. There's a lot of salt already. The flavors of the cheese. You don't overwhelm it. There you go. Okay, so let's bring this over here. We have 2 pans that are ready, and we're just going to add the gluten-free sweet potato pasta and cheese. Doesn't that look great? Yummy. And once you have it all set in your 2 pans, now some people add breadcrumbs to the top. I like to add just a little more cheese to the top and quickly put it in the oven to broil it so the cheese is nice and gooey, and serve it right away. Sometimes if you put breadcrumbs on top, that really helps, because if you're going to freeze this dish, the breadcrumbs will help insulate the noodles so they don't get freezer burn. Let's just spread this through. Yum, yum, yum. There you go. Okay, so remember we kept a little bit of the cheese back. So what I want to do is just add the cheese to the top. Everybody wants a little extra cheese on top, for sure. There you go. This is Kraft cheese, by the way. And a little bit of Parmesan. And again, that's why I didn't add too much salt, because the Parmesan has a natural saltiness, which is such a good flavor. So I've had the oven on high broil for the last 10 minutes, so it's definitely ready. And just a couple minutes in the oven until you see your cheese is nice and melted, and then you're ready to go. So these are the noodles that we use today, but there are lots of different noodles that you can use that are out in the stores. And what I would suggest is, if you're going to make this, which I do for a lot of my clients, I make batches and batches of it and keep it in the freezer. Cut it into little pieces and let the kids take it for lunch, or when you're really hooped for some time at the end of the day, kids can have a really nutritious dinner. Okay? And if we have a couple more minutes here, if you pan into the pasta, you can start to see the cheese is incorporated in with the noodles. Now some people like it really, really crusty. I like it really, really smooth. So let's get a dish ready, or maybe a couple, because I bet my camera person is getting hungry. And get ourselves, let's get a couple forks ready. And you can do this with lots of different noodles. You can do it with lots of different vegetables. You can add spinach, you can add bacon, whatever you'd like. All right, I think we're almost ready to go. Sorry, I just redesigned my kitchen, so I'm trying to find all my stuff. Okay, so I just like it a little melted. And you can start to see that if you keep it in a long time, it'll start to brown. The Parmesan cheese will brown. This is exactly the way I like it. I'm gonna leave that one in for just a couple minutes. All right, and here we go. Yum. So it didn't take very long. Start to finish, you're looking at about a half an hour to 40 minutes. And the kids will love it. So I'm going to take a bite, give you my personal opinion of a gluten-free sweet potato pasta and cheese. Wow, I can't wait. It's so good. And everyone always says that in their audition tapes, but I'm saying this because it is. If you can get close up to see the creamy richness, looks like tons of cheese. It's in fact just a bit of cheese and a lot of sweet potato. And the gluten-free pasta is a nice option if you're looking to lower the amount of gluten in your diet, or if you are celiac. So there's the recipe incorporating Philadelphia cream cheese. I'm Brennan. Thanks for watching.